press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Okay, welcome to online classes. In case of last class, we have discussed some of the concepts with regard to the excretory products and as well as their elimination. Within that, last class we have discussed about the counter current mechanism. It is the mechanism that helps to form concentrated urine, or it may be that helps to the formation of the concentrated filtrate. So that concentrated filtrate that is being takes place through one of the effective mechanism within the kidney, that is the counter current mechanism. Okay, as far as this class, let us go through with the next concept with regard to the particularly excretory products and as well as their elimination. The next concept, that is the regulation of kidney function. Regulation of the kidney function. Of course, you know that the main function of the kidney is to purify the blood. The kidney, which is helpful in the purification of blood, that means to say it can able to separate the nitrogenous waste present in the blood. So by the help of kidney, the blood will be filtered so as to remove the nitrogenous waste from the body of the animal. So the process is known as excretion. The main function of the kidney is to perform the filtration of the blood so as to remove the nitrogenous waste. That kidney function that is being monitored, the normal functioning of the kidney which is monitored, and it is being regulated by particularly hormonal control. Such kidney function is regulated. That means to say the kidney function is controlled by the hormonal action. So the effective functioning of the kidney that mainly monitored and as well as regulated, that is by the hormonal control mechanism, that is with the involvement of three distinct structures. So the effective functioning of the kidney, which is monitored and it is regulated by hormonal control with the involvement of three structures within the human body. So what are those three structures? Let us know one by one. That is, one is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is one of the structure, that is one of the gland involved in the monitoring and as well as regulation of the kidney function. That is hypothalamus. We will discuss in detail. Other than this hypothalamus, one more structure, one more distinct particular structure, that is called as JGA. What is this JGA? Of course, that J stands for juxta, G stands for glomerular, and A stands for apparatus. So JGA is nothing but a juxtaglomerular apparatus. It's also involved in the regulation of kidney function. Other than this, that is one more called as heart. Of course, the main function of the heart that is involved in the circulation that can able to pump the blood, that is the heart function. Along with that circulation, the heart is also involved in the control of kidney that can able to regulate the kidney function. So that regulatory mechanism, the kidney function effectively monitored and it is being regulated by the hormonal control. That means all these structures are able to produce the hormones. So the hormones are the chemical messengers. Usually the hormones can be defined as chemical messengers. They are produced in trace amount, very small amount. They are the non-nutrient chemicals and they are produced in a very trace amount. Such hormones were produced by these three structures, such as hypothalamus. Of course, you may be know the importance of hypothalamus. Usually, hypothalamus is one of the structure which is one of the gland referred as master of master gland, because it is the gland which going to control the pituitary. Pituitary is one of the master gland. So hypothalamus involved in regulatory mechanism to control the kidney function, as well as juxtaglomerular apparatus and also heart. These three structures, by the secretion of hormones, they going to monitor and as well as regulate the kidney function. So how these going to control the kidney function? Let us go through with one by one. Okay, that is first one, hypothalamus, the part involved in the control of the kidney function. That is one of the hypothalamus. Usually this hypothalamus, it is one of the master of master gland. Why it is called as master of master gland? Because it is the gland that going to control one of the master gland called as pituitary. Since the pituitary is the master gland, that master gland which is being controlled by the hypothalamus. Usually the hypothalamus found within the brain, above the midbrain, above this pituitary, that can able to control the pituitary. So it is called as a master of master gland. This, by the help of this hypothalamus, the kidney function, how it is being regulated. That is, we can study, suppose the blood volume. Suppose the blood volume. Normal blood volume, around about normal quantity of the blood in the human is about around 4.5 to 5 liters average. That blood volume, or it may be body fluid volume. Blood volume, or it may be the body fluid volume, and also ionic concentration. Ionic concentration. If the change in this, suppose the change in blood volume, body fluid, or it may be ionic concentration, then some of the osmoreceptors. Some of the osmoreceptors, they get activated. They get activated. So, whenever the blood volume or body fluid volume or the ionic balance will be changed from normal concentration, then the osmoreceptors of the body, they get activated. So, this particular hypothalamus, how it going to regulate? Suppose if the blood volume or it may be body fluid volume that is being decreased. Body fluid volume suppose decreased from the normal level. When the blood volume or the body fluid volume, whenever it is get decreased, immediately these receptors, the osmoreceptors of the body, immediately they get activated and stimulate. They stimulate some of the hypothalamus. And thereby such hypothalamus that can able to secrete, that can able to release the hormone. That hormone is the ADH. That is ADH means that is antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone. Such ADH will be released from the hypothalamus. Whenever the blood volume or body fluid volume is reduced from the normal level, immediately the receptors will be get activated and that receptor stimulate the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus will release one of the hormone called as antidiuretic hormone. It is also been called as vasopressin. It is also called as vasopressin. Such ADH released from the hypothalamus that going to act on the filtrate of the tubules of the nephron. That going to act on the filtrate of the tubules, various tubules of the nephron, and thereby it reabsorbs the water from the filtrate. So, whenever the blood volume will be reduced from normal level, immediately the receptors going to be activated and to release, that going to stimulate the hypothalamus to release the antidiuretic hormone. Such antidiuretic hormone that act on filtrate of the tubular part of nephron, as a result the filtrate, within the filtrate, the water will be reabsorbed, such reabsorbed water that is into the blood. As a result of this, the blood volume gradually increases. Gradually, the blood volume will increase. So, the blood volume, whenever it is get reduced, immediately the receptors activated and stimulating the hypothalamus. That hypothalamus release the antidiuretic hormone that can able to act on filtrate of the tubular part of nephron to reabsorb the water into the blood. As a result, decreased blood volume gradually increases up to the normal level. Suppose You may ask question, okay? Whenever the blood volume will be reduced from normal level, that can able to activate the receptors and stimulating the hypothalamus to release the ADH. If the blood volume, that blood volume will be increased from the normal level. Whenever the blood volume will be increased from the normal level, in such condition, these receptors will going to switch off. They will not get activated because of increased blood volume or body fluid volume. The receptors in the body, they get switch off. As a result, that going to suppress or it may stop the secretion of ADH from the hypothalamus. Secretion of the ADH from the hypothalamus that can able to suppress the secretion of particularly the ADH and it going to complete the feedback mechanism. So very clear, whenever the blood volume is reduced, so the receptors get activated to stimulate the hypothalamus to secrete the ADH. That ADH that act on the filtrate of the nephrons, filtrate of tubular part of nephron, thereby it reabsorbs the water into the blood, so the blood volume gradually increases. While the blood volume is higher or it may be more, blood volume is increased from the normal level, so the receptors will get a switch off, and as a result that will going to suppress the hypothalamus and it will suppress the secretion of the ADH. As a result, that will complete the feedback process. So whenever higher, the receptors get switch off. Whenever the blood volume is lower, the receptors going to be activated. Once the receptors are activated, that stimulate the hypothalamus that can able to release the ADH. While the blood volume is so much higher, in such case, the receptors get a switch off. As a result, that will suppress the release of ADH from the hypothalamus. As a result, that will going to complete the feedback process. That means that can able to reduce the reabsorption of water from the filtrate. As a result, that is this particular hypothalamus, we can able to observe the hypothalamus that is mainly involved in maintenance of blood volume as well as body fluid volume and also ionic concentration. If there is any changes, if there is lower, the receptors get activated. If the blood volume is slightly higher, the receptors get switch off, thereby to check the release of the ADH from the hypothalamus. Okay, that is about the hypothalamus. Is it clear? Okay, then next thing, similarly, another component involved in the regulation of kidney function, that is the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay, juxtaglomerular apparatus. It is also a component involved in the regulation of kidney. So, what is this juxtaglomerular apparatus, which is also been known as JGA? That JGA, it is one of the cellular modification. Definition for the JGA, that is the cellular modification of the afferent arteriole and distal convoluted tibial. Afferent arteriole and distal convoluted tibial at the point of their contact. So, the definition for the juxtaglomerular apparatus, that is the cellular modification of two parts of nephron, that is afferent arteriole and the distal convoluted tibial at the point of contact. Such cellular modification of these structure whenever they contact with each other. Such cellular modification of the afferent arteriole and the distal convoluted tibial at the point of contact, call it as a juxtaglomerular apparatus. Usually this juxtaglomerular apparatus that is involved in the regulation of kidney function, usually how it regulate the kidney function? The question arises. How the juxtaglomerular apparatus is going to regulate the kidney function. So, whenever fall of GFR, what is this GFR? In the previous class, we have discussed about GFR. That means the G stands for glomerular, F stands for filtration rate. Of course, we have discussed in previous class. Glomerular filtration rate. What is this glomerular filtration rate? That means the amount of filtrate. Formed by the kidney per minute, is it not? The amount of filtrate formed by the kidney per minute is known as glomerular filtration rate. For about 1 minute, the kidney can able to form the filtrate about 125 ml. Is it not? Okay. Such GFR, that is the glomerular filtration rate, whenever it is fall down, that means instead of 125 ml, fall of GFR means instead of 125 ml, maybe around 110 ml, or lower than that 110 ml of the filtrate is formed per minute in a kidney. So, that condition we call it as a fall of GFR. Whenever the fall of glomerular filtration rate, immediately this juxtaglomerular apparatus, whenever the fall of GFR, the juxtaglomerular apparatus will stimulate to release one of the hormone called as renin, that can able to release the renin. Such renin that can act on, particularly the renin that is act on one of the blood component called as angiotensinogen. Within the blood, one of the component angiotensinogen. So, the fall of GFR that will going to stimulate the juxtaglomerular apparatus to release the hormone renin. It is not an enzyme. Of course, you are studied in a digestion topic. Renin is one of the enzymes secreted in the gastric juice. In case of that, that is the enzyme. Here the renin is one of the hormone. Such renin acts on the blood component that is called as angiotensinogen. That means one of the component found in the blood. Such angiotensinogen, it is get converted into angiotensin first. So renin acts on angiotensinogen that will be converted into angiotensin first. Then such angiotensin first later converted into angiotensin second. That is, we have to remember the renin produced from the JGA, that is the juxtaglomerular apparatus, acts on the blood component known as angiotensinogen. Such angiotensin that will be converted into angiotensin 1 because of action of renin. Such angiotensin 1 later it is converted into angiotensin second. Such angiotensin second that is one of the powerful vasoconstrictor. It is one of the powerful vasoconstrictor. That means vasoconstrictor. Say for vasoconstrictor, that is name itself indicates, that is the angiotensin second. Angiotensin second is one of the powerful vasoconstrictor. The name itself indicates. What is this vaso? That is the blood vessels. Constrictor results in the constriction of the blood vessels. So, because of the blood vessels, by the action of the angiotensin second, that is one of the powerful vasoconstrictor. As a result, the blood vessels undergo constriction. As a result of this, blood vessels are get constricted. The flow of blood within the blood vessels will be more. As a result, that blood flow will be more. As a result, that will going to increase the blood pressure. So that enable to increase the blood pressure. Say for whenever the glomerular filtration rate is fall down from the normal level, immediately the juxtaglomerular apparatus release the renin. That renin acts on angiotensinogen, a blood component. Later it is converted into angiotensin 1, and such angiotensin 1 further it is converted into angiotensin second. So such angiotensin second is a powerful vasoconstrictor. It is responsible for the constriction of the blood vessels. As a result, the blood vessels are constricted. Within the blood vessels, the cavity will be narrow. As a result, the blood flow and also blood pressure will be increased. As the blood pressure get increased, so the glomerular filtration rate also increases. Previously, the glomerular filtration, whenever under fall down, whenever it is lower, that means fall in the GFR, that JGA going to secrete the renin, acts on angiotensinogen, convert into angiotensin 1, then angiotensin 2. It is a powerful vasoconstrictor that leads to the constriction of the blood vessels. As a result, the cavity of the blood vessel become narrow. As a result, blood flow and blood pressure will be increased in the glomerulus. As a result, the blood pressure increased in the glomerulus that can able to increase the filtration rate. That is, the glomerular filtration rate will also become increased. Along with this, this angiotensin 2 that can also stimulate adrenal gland, particularly adrenal cortex. Of course, adrenal adjacent to the renal, that is the kidney, above the kidney, the presence of gland adrenal. The adrenal, of course, it is differentiated into outer cortex and inner medulla. You are going to study in detail with regard to the endocrine glands. That is in the last chapter, chemical coordination and integration. You are going to study in detail with regard to all the endocrine glands. But here you just know that adrenal is one of the endocrine gland, differentiated into outer cortex and inner medulla. Both the regions are involved in the secretion of hormones. Here, adrenal cortex, that is angiotensin 2, not only leads to the increase of blood pressure and the GFR, along with that the angiotensin 2 that going to stimulate which one? That is the adrenal cortex. As a result, the stimulated adrenal cortex that release one of the hormone that is called as aldosterone. So, the stimulated adrenal cortex will going to release the hormone called as aldosterone. Such aldosterone that can able to reabsorb sodium and as well as water from the filtrate of the nephron. So, the aldosterone, what is the responsibility of aldosterone? That going to reabsorb the sodium and water, not only sodium, that sodium and also water molecule will be reabsorbed from the filtrate. As a result, the blood pressure as well as the GFR will be increased. So for the purpose of the increasing the glomerular filtration rate, that angiotensin 2 act as a powerful vasoconstrictor, and also it can stimulate the adrenal cortex so as to release the aldosterone. That aldosterone involved in the reabsorption of sodium and water from the filtrate of the nephron. As a result, the blood pressure and the glomerular filtration rate will going to increase. That whole mechanism in together, that is called as renin angiotensin mechanism. Renin and as well as angiotensin mechanism. So, this kidney function will be regulated by one of the component in the nephron, that is the JGA. It is the cellular modification of afferent and the distal convoluted tubule at the point of contact that can able to increase the glomerular filtration rate whenever it is fall down. By the secretion of renin, that can act on angiotensinogen, convert into angiotensin first and then angiotensin second. It is a powerful vasoconstrictor that leads to the constriction of blood vessel. As a result, blood flow as well as blood pressure will be increased so as to increase the glomerular filtration rate. Along with that, the angiotensin 2 stimulate the adrenal cortex to release the aldosterone, which is involved in the reabsorption of sodium and water from the filtrate. As a result, the blood pressure as well as the glomerular filtration rate that going to increase. That whole reaction, or it may be the whole mechanism, we call it as a renin angiotensin mechanism. That is with regard to very important for board exams and as well as competitive purpose. Okay, that is the regulation of kidney function. The normal kidney function, which is regulated by three components already we have discussed. That is one is the hypothalamus and as well as another one is the JGA, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay, the remaining last component that also involved in the regulation of kidney function. So that is one of the arc. So third component, third structure involved in the kidney function is one of the structure, that is the organ arc. Usually the heart main function is to pump the blood. Of course, along with that, that can also involved in the regulation of kidney function. So how it going to control, how it going to regulate the kidney function? Usually this arc, that is whenever the increased blood pressure, or blood flow in the atria. Atria means they are the chambers of the heart called as auricles. So the increased, whenever the blood pressure increases or the blood flow increases, that is at the auricular region, or it may be atrium or atria. So the increased blood pressure or the blood flow within the heart, particularly at the atrial region, immediately that atrial region, the auricles of the heart, that going to release one of the important hormone called as atrial natriuretic factor. ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ ನಮಗೆ atrial natriuretic factor, that is in short form we call it as ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. It is one of the hormone produced by the auricle of the heart. Usually heart is also one of the gland that mainly involved in the hormone secretion. It is not an endocrine gland, but even though it can able to produce the atrial natriuretic factor, that is the ANF. Such ANF, it is been released only whenever the blood pressure will be higher or blood flow will be more in the atrial region of the heart. Immediately the atria will going to release the hormone atrial natriuretic factor, that is called as ANF. That ANF, it is one of the powerful vasodilator. Powerful vasodilator. That means opposite to the vasoconstrictor. Which one is a vasoconstrictor? Previously I have said that, I have told that is the angiotensin II. It is the vasoconstrictor. Whereas ANF, vasodilator. That means vaso means vessels, blood vessels. Dilator, that is responsible for dilation. So, vasodilator, that is one of the ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. It is one of the powerful vasodilator. It is responsible for the dilation of blood vessels. As a result, the blood vessels, whenever they are get dilated, whenever the blood vessels they are get dilated, the cavity in the blood vessels will be more or increases. As a result, the blood flow force will be reduced. As a result, the blood pressure will be reduces. So whenever the atrial region of the heart with increased blood pressure, immediately the atrial wall will going to release the atrial natriuretic factor, that is the ANF, that responsible for dilation of blood vessels. As a result of blood vessels are get dilated, so the cavity in the blood vessels will be more because of dilation of blood vessels. As a result, the blood flow force will be reduced. As a result, blood flow force will be reduced. That can decrease the blood pressure. So, the ANF, whether the ANF, blood pressure lowering hormone or increasing hormone. So we can easily say that this ANF, one of the blood pressure lowering hormone. So, suppose the question may arise, name the blood pressure lowering hormone. One word answer, simply that is the ANF. Otherwise, you write completely atrial natriuretic factor. It is the blood pressure lowering hormone. Suppose they may arise, name the hormone, blood pressure increasing hormone. Which one is the blood pressure increasing hormone? Vasodilator will be the ANF. So it can able to dilate the blood vessel, that can able to decrease the blood pressure, since it is the blood pressure lowering hormone. Okay. What about the blood pressure increasing hormone? That means the hormone which is responsible for vasoconstriction. That is one of the renin. Such renin acts on angiotensinogen. Usually directly renin will not be the vasoconstrictor. That acts on angiotensinogen, convert them into angiotensin 1, then angiotensin 2. So angiotensin 2 is one of the blood pressure increasing factor. not a hormone, blood pressure increasing factor. We can write the blood pressure increasing factor will be the angiotensin 2, while the blood pressure decreasing or lowering hormone will be the ANF. Is it clear? That is, while we study with the regulation of the kidney function, three major structures are involved in the regulation of kidney function. One is the hypothalamus, second one is the juxtaglomerular apparatus, and third one will be the heart. So, next thing. Next concept within the excretory products and their elimination. Next concept will be micturition. Usually micturition. It is the process of release of urine. It is the process of release of urine. That is through the opening called as urethra. So, the process of release of urine through the urethra, the process is known as micturition. Usually, the urine which is been formed from the nephron of the kidney. So, within the kidney, about millions of nephrons are there, each one responsible for filtering the blood. After the filtration, filtrate will going to form, and after the reabsorption and secretion, that will going to form the concentrated urine, of course. So such urine will be formed from the nephron, and such urine will be get temporarily stored in urinary bladder. Is it right? That is, whatever the urine formed from the nephron, such urine will be get collected in the collecting duct, and then from the collecting duct it is passed into renal pelvis, and finally into the ureter, and finally from the ureter the urine will be temporarily stored in the urinary bladder, and finally it is being released to the outside through the opening called as urethra. So, the process of release of urine through the urethra, the process is known as micturition. Usually, urethra is the opening that helpful in the elimination of the urine to the outside. That opening up of the urinary bladder is known as urethra. Such urethra which is guarded by urethral sphincter. Urethral sphincter. The opening of the urinary bladder called as urethra. That urethra which is guarded by the valve. Such valve we call it as a urethral sphincter. Whenever the urethral sphincter get dilated, then only the urethra get opened. Through that opening, the urine will be released to the outside. That process of release of urine from through the urethra is known as micturition. So, suppose the micturition, of course the definition you are known, the process of release of urine through the urethra. Suppose that micturition, whether it's a voluntary process or involuntary, as you consider the micturition either voluntary or involuntary. What will be the answer for the micturition either it is voluntary or involuntary? The answer is so simple. That is in adulthood as well as adulthood and also in the children's it is the voluntary process, while that is in babies, human babies, that particular the micturition is a involuntary. Gradually the human baby develops, become from the kid to the children, then adult. Gradually that process will be under the control of central nervous system. So mostly this micturition is one of the voluntary process. Voluntary process, that means to say that release of urine which will be under the control of our central nervous system. So the micturition is under the control of central nervous system, hence it is been voluntary process. So how the micturition will be controlled by the central nervous system, so that we can able to know this central nervous system how it going to control the micturition process. Because it is a voluntary, of course, how it going to happen? Let us go through with that. Usually that signal for the release of urine which is being initiated, that means it is started, initiated, that is by the stretching of the urinary bladder. Of course, the micturition is a voluntary process controlled by the central nervous system. The signal for the micturition is actually initiated by the stretching of urinary bladder. As the urinary bladder get stretched so as to fill the urine. As the urinary bladder get stretched, within that urinary bladder, gradually urine get filled. In response to this, stretch receptors, that particular central nervous system that sends the signal. In response to the stretch receptors, the signals will be sent to the central nervous system. As the urine get filled in the urinary bladder, that stretch receptors in the urinary bladder, they send the signal to the central nervous system, and that central nervous system that going to carry one of the motor messages to initiate the contraction of. Listen, whenever the micturition, of course it's a voluntary process, for that signal will be initiated as the stretching of the urinary bladder so as to fill the urine. As the urine get filled completely, In response to this, the stretch receptors of the urinary bladder, they send the signal to the central nervous system, and that central nervous system, they going to pass the motor messages to the particularly to initiate the contraction of smooth muscles of urinary bladder. Smooth muscles of urinary bladder. As the smooth muscles of the urinary bladder get contracted, as the smooth muscles of the urinary bladder get contracted, along with that simultaneous relaxation of urethral sphincter. As the opening of the urethra, we call it as a urethral sphincter, is it not? So that smooth muscles of the urinary bladder undergo contraction because the messages carried from the central nervous system, the urinary bladder, which is with the smooth muscles, are get contracted. Along with that simultaneous relaxation of the urethral sphincter. So it is better, that is consider it is the urinary bladder for the purpose of micturition, that is controlled by neural mechanism. How it is controlled by neural mechanism, how it is controlled by central nervous system, very clear that is for the micturition, the signal is initiated, that is started by the stretching of particularly the urinary bladder. As the urinary bladder get stretched, since the urine will be filled within the urinary bladder, is it not? As the signal for the micturition is initiated, that is by stretching of urinary bladder, so as to urine get filled completely. As the urine get once completely filled, in response to this, the stretch receptors, they going to send the signal. As the urine get completely filled, that stretch receptor, they send the signal to the central nervous system. So such central nervous system that going to pass one of the message, and that message for the purpose of contraction of the smooth muscles of the urinary bladder. As a result, these smooth muscles of the urinary bladder, they undergo contraction. As a result, the urine from the urinary bladder, it is get pushed to the urethra, since the urethra, which is guarded by one of the sphincters, urethral sphincter. Such urethral sphincter, the contraction of smooth muscles of the urinary bladder and the simultaneous relaxation of this urethral sphincter, that will going to result in the opening of the urethra. So the urethra get opened. Through that opening, the urine will be released to the outside. Very simple. That is, the micturition is a process of release of urine. It is under the control of central nervous system. Since it is a voluntary process, majority it is a voluntary process. That micturition is under the control of neural system, that is nervous system. Since the micturition reflex, the release of urine is under the control of neural system, is known as micturition reflex. That micturition reflex, it is been explained as maybe first the signal for micturition is initiated by the stretching of urinary bladder muscles. As the urinary bladder muscles get stretched, so the urine get filled in the urinary bladder. Once the urinary bladder get filled completely with the urine, so in response to this, the stretch receptor, they are going to send the signal to the central nervous system. So such central nervous system carry the motor messages, and that messages for the purpose of contraction of smooth muscles of the urinary bladder. Once the urinary bladder, that is the smooth muscles of the urinary bladder, get contracted, inside the urinary bladder the urine is filled completely. Such urine will be expelled, eliminated to the outside. Similarly, that urine from the urinary bladder, it should be eliminated, but it is guarded by the opening called as the urethral sphincter. The urethra is guarded by urethral sphincter. Such urethral sphincter must undergo relaxation. So the urethral sphincter become relaxed, then only the urethra get opened. Through that opening, the urine will be released to the outside. So the micturition, the release of urine, is a voluntary process. The signal for the micturition is initiated only the stretching of urinary bladder. As the urinary bladder gets stretched, the urine will be filled. As the urine completely filled, in response to this, stretch receptor will going to send the signal to the central nervous system, and that central nervous system carry the message onto the urinary bladder, particularly to the smooth muscles of urinary bladder. As a result, they get contracted. Along with that, simultaneous relaxation of urethral sphincter that leads to the opening of the urethra. So the urine will be released to the outside. The process is known as the micturition. Okay, that is with regard to the micturition, as well as the micturition is a voluntary process and it is controlled by central nervous system. Since the micturition reflex, that is started by stretching, that is the micturition reflex initiated, that is by the stretching of urinary bladder. Okay, within the excretory products and their elimination, we have discussed, that is the regulation of kidney function and also the micturition. Along with that, the remaining content in the excretory products and their elimination, that is one more concept, composition of urine. Along with that, some of the organs other than kidney, they are also involved in elimination of the waste. What are those? And also lastly, very important, excretory disorders pertaining to the kidney. Some of the disorders, excretory disorders, they are the concepts to be discussed in the coming sessions. Okay, thank you.